Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. I am Dave Biddle. I'm going to be joined by Steve Helwagen in just a moment. But we'll let you guys know, as we've been talking about, Dan Rubin and I, about our new sponsor for the Bucknuts Morning 5, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com. It is an online mental health company, and it's the best in our country. You can get with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at no additional charge. And because of the Bucknuts Morning 5, you can get a discount. And this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com. So go to BetterHelp.com/Bucknuts to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/Bucknuts. Get 10% off your first month. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp, and we all know mental health is so important. And, it's all online. Again, licensed therapists. You can switch therapists. And couldn't encourage you guys to do that more if you need to talk to anybody. Again, BetterHelp. Go to BetterHelp.com/Bucknuts to get 10% off. All right, let's get to some football. Let's bring in my guy, Steve Helwagen. Steve, I want to start off talking about the safeties. We got a chance to talk to Perry Eliano and Sonny Styles yesterday, and the rest of the safeties, Lathan, Ransom, Jihad Carter, Cam Martinez. I love this group. We'll start with Sonny. We were all saying, hey, just make sure Sonny's on the field. Sonny's going to be on the field. They're being coy with exactly what they're going to do with him. Like I asked Perry, as you know, like, can you elaborate on exactly what his role is going to be? He goes, he'll be on the field. I like that, though. But then he said, somebody else asked him a follow-up. He's like, we know exactly what we're going to do with him. He didn't say, we're just not telling you. Basically, it was like, we're not telling you. We know. I love it, Steve. I love what I'm hearing about what they're going to do with Sonny Styles.
Yeah, I agree, Dave. I think this is a guy that between the spring and the fall has come a long way, obviously. And I think that that's been borne out by the amount of attention that he got, on that first day or second day, the day that we got to watch. And by a lot of people, a lot of fans got to watch both, the first day or the second day, or some people went to both. And a lot of people remarked about how much run he was getting. And I think that just kind of bears out. I mean, he told us he's 6'4". He was 216, I think, or thereabouts when he got to OSU, maybe 218. And now he's like 229 or 228, something like that in that range. So he's put on 10 pounds of good muscle and hasn't really impacted his athletic ability. And this is a guy that is going to be pressed into production this year. So we're going to see on-the-job training for him. He's going right into the rotation, it seems, as a starter, whether it's at the nickel position or at one of the high safety positions. But I don't have any doubt that he's going to be fine. There may be some hiccups here or there, but excuse me, I think he's got so much ability and really this is his time. This is his time. He should be a true freshman this year, and he had the benefit of coming in last year, which would have been a senior year in high school. He escalated that timeline by a year. So he's had that developmental year. He's been in the program for a full year, and now we'll see what he is really capable of this coming season. I couldn't be any more excited about it, and we're going to get to go out to practice on Friday and get a little bit of a better idea of exactly what this looks like when it's put in motion.
And Steve, I know you've been following Sonny for a long time. One of the things that really stands out about him that I didn't really know that much. I mean, if you know anything about him and you just watched him as a football player, be like, he's special. He's wow, look at this, like freak, as Perry Eliano called him, unicorn, whatever you want to use. How mature is this young man? How humble is he? Like, he's driven. Like, I encourage everybody to watch the video that you posted to YouTube and to our website. Like, Steve, we all know he's like an elite athlete, beyond elite maybe. He's also like a fantastic young man. I don't think people know that enough.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dave. And I was around him a little bit with football and also quite a bit with basketball. He played on the All-Ohio Red team up till his junior year. And, of course, his junior year, he and Devin Royal won the state championship in basketball in Ohio. So this is a kid who has winning in his resume. It's all he's ever done. got picked Central to the Final Four once or twice, or at least his sophomore year. You know, they played a game on national TV his sophomore year with his brother, who was 2 years ahead of him, Lorenzo, and he just looked like, if you didn't know any better, you'd say, oh, he's one of the seniors out there. No, he's a sophomore. He was out there running around, kind of like the Nick Bosa tape. You know, when you saw him his first year as a varsity player, you're like, oh, he's one of the seniors out there running around. No, he's just a sophomore. He's out there, you know, making plays. So I think that's kind of the same principle that's involved here, talking about Sonny Styles. And, you know, the sky's the limit on what he's going to be able to do. And it doesn't sound like they're holding him back at all. So the rest of them are going to have to make room for Sonny. And I think that's a good thing.
Let's get into the other starting safeties right now. I mean, they said they're moving guys around, but it sounds like it's Lathan Ransom's locked in. He's the leader of that group. Sonny's the most talented, but Lathan's the leader. He's locked in as a starter. Sonny's locked in as a starter. And it sounds like Jihad Carter is also locked in as a starter. I'm here for it. If you get on the Syracuse message boards, when Carter transferred, when he put his name, they were like, no, the game, you know, when the fan base freaks out, like, no, we can't lose this guy. Like, and I love that. And I asked him, it's funny, Steve, I don't know. I didn't know this. I asked him, like, was it a close call when you decided to transfer from Syracuse between Ohio State and some other schools? Kind of get into that. Was it like when Ohio State offered you? Was it like Ohio State no-brainer? He goes, there were 3 schools that I was interested in, really interested in. I'm glad I'm here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say who the other 2 were. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Get into all that. Jihad Carter being here, Lathan Ransom as the other starting safety to go along with Sonny Styles.
Yeah, once again, a class kid, by the way he handled that question. He didn't come out and disparage anybody. They asked him, what's the difference between Ohio State and Syracuse? And he said, at Syracuse, we had a pretty good culture, but culture is the difference. And that'll tell you right there. When he leaves Syracuse and said that they had a good culture within the Syracuse program, it's been a 6-7 win type program here in recent years. And he comes to Ohio State and he said, you can't take a day off. You have to bring it every day. The line that he used, I put it in the headline, the rent is due every day. And what that means is you got to pay the landlord every day to stay in the apartment, bud. And that's just the facts of the matter. At Ohio State, you have to bring it every day. It's competition. He said the best in the country are on the other side that we're going up against. And if you don't bring your best every day, you're going to get embarrassed. You're going to get humiliated. And that's what it's supposed to be when you're playing for the best of the best. I'm going to tell you, Dave, I was at the hotel check-in on Sunday. I never seen guys walking through there looking like what they were looking like. I mean, I've been there a lot of years watching them come in and get ready to go to the hotel and go to camp. There are, we throw the word freaks around quite a bit. A lot of freaks on this team, guys. They've recruited pretty well. We can poo-poo this and, oh, they didn't get that guy or they didn't get this guy. They got some dudes. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this team come together. And Carter's just another one, in my opinion. I think I wrote the story that goes with his video, 28 starts at Syracuse, well over 100 and some tackles in 3 years there. Was a good interceptor at Syracuse as well. So he's a guy that's going to get his hands on some footballs, and I think that's a good thing as well.
They're saying like the demise of Mickey Marotti has been grossly overrated.
I think so.
About like guys not being. Sonny Styles was talking about that yesterday. Like they were like, because he was saying like I'm like 12 pounds heavier than I was last year, and I feel quicker. I'm definitely stronger, heavier. And he's like, if anything, I'm faster and quicker. And people were like, "Are you surprised by that?" He goes, Sonny was like, "Not at all. It's like what Mick does and his staff. If you just listen to what they do, what they want you to do, you're going to get to where you want to be." So I've heard a lot of rumblings about Mick. Maybe the game has passed him by a little bit, or maybe he's behind the times is maybe a better way to put it. But like, man, you got like Sonny Styles and all these guys like vouching for him. I'll go with that.
No doubt. And I heard a lot of the same things. I think I did hear that comment. Maybe it was Sonny or somebody made that exact comment that, if you just listen to Coach Marotti and follow what he tells you to do, he and his staff, that they will get you where you need to be. And it's a process. I mean, they have the winter program from mid-January up until the start of spring football. Then you have spring football for 6 weeks there, and then you have the spring program from about the first part of May up until a week or two ago. They really put these guys to their paces, and this is when they are getting them performance ready to go out every Saturday, week in and week out, stay healthy, and play the best football they could possibly play. And so, again, this team's primed and ready to go, in my opinion.
A few more things. I want to get your general observations. We're like 5 days through, 5 practices, not 5 days, 5 practices through camp. 6th practice later today. Going to meet with Gene Smith. Going to meet with Ryan Day later today after practice. Gene Smith before practice, Ryan Day after practice. 6th practice later today. Steve, what is your biggest? We talked about the safeties. Other than the safeties, what's been some of your biggest observations from practice thus far?
I think I said this after the first one that I attended. I was just impressed with how many guys missed the spring but looked like they hadn't missed a beat. And not only that, they were like leaders out there on the first day, including like Evan Pryor, Tommy Eichenberg, Steele Chambers, Xavier Johnson. These were all people who were making plays. Julian Fleming to a point as well. So I think that's one. I think two, this freshman class is very special. Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Jelani Thurman, Malik Hartford over on defense. A guy that got a lot of pub this summer was Calvin Simpson Hunt, cornerback from Texas. He was a late enrollee, but everybody liked what he showed them during the summer months. So to me, I think it was those two things really stood out, that there's a lot of true freshmen who are playing above maybe their grade level right now. And it's kind of hard to project that they're going to get to play a lot just because it's such a deep team, but you know that the depth is there. For them to be able to run 2 11-on-11 fields at the same time, that's something that I haven't seen at Ohio State in a very long time. I don't even remember the last time that we saw something like that with 2 first-rate 11-on-11 fields. And they really, the day we were there, they jumbled it up on us and it looked like they sent half the starters on offense to one field, half the starters on offense to another field. It was a mismatch of 1s and 2s going against each other on both fields. And to me, that just brings up the competition level, because everybody's fighting for a job and you really aren't sure, am I a 1 or am I a 2? What am I? No, you're a football player. Go make plays, and we'll let you know where you end up. I mean, obviously, there are some guys like Donovan Jackson and JT Tuimoloau and a few others, Tommy Eichenberg, Steele Chambers, who all know that they're 1s, but a lot of the guys are in that in-between area, where they're fighting for playing time. And to me, that was the best of the best, I thought, going against each other on both fields. So it doesn't get any better than that, man. If you can get 44 guys, 88 guys in this case, experience in the same time that you used to get 44 guys experience, that says a lot right there.
What also says a lot is our other sponsor for today's show, Manscaped.com. We've been telling you guys a lot about this. Steve and I are going to finish the show talking about Big Ten expansion, what might be next, and our thoughts on that. But we're going to get into Manscaped.com, how we can help you guys out. If you want to look good like Steve Helwagen and Dan Rubin, you got to get with Manscaped, and we're going to get you 20% off. You go to Manscaped.com, code Bucknuts, and you get 20% off and free shipping. 20% off. Go to Manscaped.com, code Bucknuts. We're going to get you 20% off, free shipping. Manscaped, there's a reason it's blown up like it has. Every one of my friends and family member that uses it loves it. My coworkers love it. I consider my coworkers friends too. So, look at Steve. Steve's a good-looking man. I mean, come on. So get with Manscaped. They're going to help you out. They got a little bit of everything. If you got hairs on your body that you don't want there, they'll help you out there. So go to Manscaped.com, code Bucknuts, get 20% off and free shipping. There you go. You got to look good, Steve. You got to look good. So you got to look good in this world. I mean, we're only here for so long, so you got to use that code Bucknuts. You got to unlock your confidence with Manscaped. All right, let's
That's
get
it.
back to football. All right, so what are your thoughts on Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten next year, along with UCLA and USC? We'll get to maybe what's next after that. Just I want to get your initial thoughts on Oregon and Washington joining.
You know, I guess that's good for the partners on the West Coast to have more teams that they can play out there without having to travel to the Central and Eastern time zones. That those are the only ones from the Pac-12 that I would be extremely interested in. I guess when you think about it, they're going to take less money through this contract that runs the next 6 years, I guess, through 2030. They're going to take less per year than everybody else in the Big Ten is going to get, but it's still more than what they were going to get had they stayed in the Pac-12, apparently. So, you know, I'm not really excited about where this whole thing is headed. I mean, they're going to continue to play football every Saturday in the fall, and it's going to be wonderful, I guess. But what the end game is here just remains a little bit murky. And as you said, we're going to talk to Gene Smith today to get a little bit more of an idea exactly what's going on in college football in the Big Ten. I don't foresee any more expansion for the Big Ten because once you take on more schools, you have to cut that pie into more pieces. And Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan are the ones that are putting the show on. That do they need to take less money to add somebody else? I don't know. So to me, I don't foresee. I mean, unless it's a Notre Dame that can pay its own way, so to speak, that you would have value added situation. Then then perhaps you'd see that, but. The whole sport is in a very turbulent time right now, and the turbulence isn't slowing down. It doesn't seem anytime soon. So we'll see if the SEC is going to add some more schools, or if the ACC is going to react. What the Big 12 might do. I mean, they've absorbed some of the Pac-12 already, so a lot of moving parts out there. Maybe the Mountain West and the Pac-12, what's left of it, the last four schools, will consolidate. But geez. Maybe the American takes a whack at those four schools that are left from the Pac-12, but it's just not what any of us signed up for. At least not what I signed up for. I guess people thought the rivalries with the schools here in the Midwest were just passe, and whatever. So it is what it is. But we'll see what happens. We're going into a new era with the college football playoff, the 12-team playoff next year. And if this helps the Big Ten get 4 teams a year in the playoff, then, so be it, I guess.
I'll get you out of here on this. I agree with you. I hope it just stays at 18. I'm not convinced it will. Let's take Notre Dame off the table. If they did expand to 20, who would be the 2 teams that are the most likely in Steve Helwagen's book? Would it be a North Carolina and Virginia? Would it be a Florida State and Clemson? They had to expand to 20 if they're going to. Notre Dame's off the table. Who would be the 2 most likely teams, you think?
I think Clemson probably be one, and then either Florida State or North Carolina. It would depend. You'd really have to do a deep dive and see which one really does bring more to the table. It's not a basketball decision in any way, shape, or form. So, you can take North Carolina basketball and kind of flush it because – the value of North Carolina basketball is probably 1/3 the value of Rutgers football. So, when you look at it in those terms, it really, or Maryland football or whatever. So, I don't know. It just, to me, I just, again, as I said, it's got to be something or somebody that brings more to the table. I think Chip Kelly had a really good suggestion here a week or two ago that why don't we just go to, or it was Rick Pitino as well, kind of made the same point, let football do its own thing with these mega conferences and then go back to just playing regionally for all the other sports, because that's really, for those schools, it makes no sense to send a baseball team from Champaign, Illinois, out to Eugene, Oregon for a weekend series of 4 that's going to draw 7,000 people, for 4 games. There's nobody paying money. Those sports lose money. They're going to lose a hell of a lot more money flying coast to coast going forward, and it's nonsense. So I don't know. Maybe they'll come up with a common sense approach for the Olympic sports. That would make me a somewhat happier, I guess. Not that anybody on our site seems to pay a whole hell of a lot of attention to the Olympic sports, but that is what it is.
Great stuff as always out of Steve Helwagen. As we said, Gene Smith early this morning, then Ryan Day after practice. Keep it locked to Bucknuts for all of that. Great stuff out of Steve. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you, and happy birthday, Megan. My oldest daughter is turning 16 today. Happy sweet 16th, Megan. Happy birthday. Thanks again to Steve. Thanks to all of you. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day.